Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Yunxiao's Tiger King chariot sped through the air, and he saw all kinds of corpses and wreckage of battleships along the way. It seemed that in addition to the Merchant Union, many forces in the western region had also entered the Demon Land, but most of them had already fallen. Moreover, there were very few corpses of 5 element spirit-devouring rats on the road, and those deaths were all caused by humans. Very quickly, as they advanced, the spirit chi became more and more concentrated. It was as if there were spirit mountains, great rivers, or spirit veins that were exposed to the earth in front of them. Spirit chi was constantly overflowing. What is this place in front of us? This level of spiritual chi is enough for a big force to set up their own sect. Tao Can was shocked. The spiritual chi that was coming at them was so dense that it was even denser than the sacred fire temple's hidden place. Yunxiao's expression was grave. This place seems illusionary, and the spirit chi is faintly discernible. It seems to be a place where the real and the illusionary are combined. Places like this are often protected by extremely strong arrays and restrictive spells. Everyone, be alert. Yi Fan was shocked, he started to be extremely careful. Yunxiao, on the other hand, had another thought in his mind. He materialized in the Divine Realm tablet and reached out his hand, grabbing Lil Wu, who was about to escape. A baby about 3 or 4 months old was struggling in his hand, his eyes full of hatred. Stop it. Yunxiao ruthlessly patted his young head and laughed. How many years have you been an old monster? Why are you still acting so cute? You won't suffer if you follow me. It's just extracting some soul power, I'll compensate you sooner or later. Lil Wu's face was filled with disbelief and he was still peeved. How many benefits have you gained from this Divine Realm tablet? Yunxiao comforted him. Without my true phoenix fire and breathing earth, you wouldn't have been able to transform even after thousands of years. Everyone was in the same boat, so they would all suffer together and rise together. Hurry up and tell me, is this place created by the ancient evergreen tree? Only then did Lil Wu stammer, but his voice was still as tender as a baby's. He said, it should be. His aura is everywhere here. Is his main body about to die? His voice was filled with shock. Yunxiao said, it's such a huge existence, even if it were to die, it would take thousands of years to do so. After he confirmed it, he disappeared from the Divine Realm tablet and his divine sense returned to the Tiger King chariot. He felt the spiritual chi in the sky and carefully absorbed it. Everyone in the Temple of Holy Fire was speechless when they saw him. He told others to be careful, but he started to cultivate as if there was no one else around. This kid really knew how to make use of time. Yunxiao, on the other hand, had a complicated feeling in his heart. Even divine trees like Xiaowu and Shaoqing, who had been standing on the earth since the beginning of the world, could not escape the fate of falling in the end. Since ancient times, who could be immortal? How many peerless geniuses had pounced forward, wave after wave, to the end of the martial Tao, the path of the divine Tao, but how many of them had ultimately become gods? At this moment, he was somewhat dispirited. The aura on his body also withered along with his mood, as if he had a kind of unstable state of mind. Stay calm. The demonic dragon suddenly let out a loud roar from the depths of his soul. His originally pure soul was tainted with a faint black gas. The dragon chi on the demonic dragon's body burst out in his spiritual sense and expelled all the black gas. Yunxiao's body trembled as he suddenly woke up, his eyes filled with horror. What's going on? His heart trembled. He had actually been in a trance at that moment. This was absolutely impossible for a martial artist, especially one with a firm heart like him. The demonic dragon's face was also very serious. It seems to be the birth of an inner demon. Inner demons? Yunxiao's eyebrows rose as he looked incredulous and said, isn't that the mental demon barrier? How could there be a physical form of demonic chi? The demonic dragon's eyes were also filled with confusion. Could it be related to your demonic sky armor? After all, I've never heard of a profound level weapon refined from demonic chi. And that armor is one of the 5 profound level weapons used to suppress Di Jia. Di Jia looks like a demon in the rumors. Yunxiao spread out his palm, and the demonic sky armor appeared in its miniature form, emitting rings of fine demonic energy. This kind of demonic chi was not strong. It was very different from the one that appeared on Di Jia and the one he had seen in the Tiandang Mountains in his previous life. The former seemed to be of a lower level and was just a type of power, while the demonic chi of the latter seemed to be able to erode everything and make one fall into eternal damnation. Don't underestimate the inner demon, the demon dragon said. Besides, the signs that appeared just now made me feel that something was wrong. It's best to use the devil sky armor as little as possible. Yunxiao put away the demonic sky armor and began to ponder. He had Donghai's moon pearl on him, so he should not have been affected by his inner demons. Moreover, he had the bright moon divine body, which could purify all negative energy. The demonic chi was so powerful that it could be seen. The surrounding spiritual energy was getting thicker and thicker. Ordinary people would definitely not be able to see their fingers when they stretched out their hands. Even for martial artists, their vision had also narrowed by a lot. Yi Fan suddenly said, "Does everyone notice? We seem to be walking in the same place?" Yunxiao's heart skipped a beat. How can that be? Why would you have such a thought? Even with the sharpness of his spiritual sense, he did not find any problems, and the others also revealed puzzled expressions. Yi Fan looked around, frowning. Along the way, the connection between Noah's ship and me has been getting stronger and stronger, but it's dense here, and that connection has always maintained a certain distance. As we continue to move forward, it hasn't changed. His words immediately attracted everyone's attention, and they began to observe the surroundings. However, the entire demon land was a boundless grassland. There was not even a single point of reference, and he had no idea where he was. Yunxiao was also standing at the front of the chariot, spreading out his divine sense to the maximum, but he did not find anything unusual. However, Yi Fan's senses could not be wrong, so he had to pay attention to it. After a long time, they still couldn't see anything, and everyone couldn't sit still. Yunxiao suddenly said, "We are indeed walking in circles, we're in trouble now." "How did you find out?" Fengzhu was shocked. "Have you found a reference?" Yunxiao's face was calm as he shook his head and said, "There's no reference. You can feel that the spiritual chi is getting thicker and thicker on the way here, but it's been so long, and the density of the spiritual chi is indeed uniform. Only when we reach the core of the spirit vein would it spread out so evenly, but this is clearly not the case. Also, there were so many corpses along the way, but after entering this area, he didn't see a single one. In other words, we've fallen into an illusory formation." Tao Ken took a look at the flying formation on the Tiger King, pointed at it, and said, "But the vitality stones have been worn out, which proves that we have been flying for a long time. If it is an illusion formation, the chariot should be staying in the same place, and the vitality stones won't be worn out, right? We are indeed using primordial stones to fly," Yunxiao said with a headache. "And we are indeed in the same place." This was an illusory formation that combined reality and illusion. This kind of illusory formation was not something an ordinary person could set up. Even the 7 superpowers might not have one. This is because this kind of formation has its own spirit. Self-formed spirituality? What do you mean by that? You mean the formation has a spirit? Tao Ken was stunned. Everything has a spirit, Yunxiao said. Formations are also one of the things in the world. As long as the Tao of evolution reaches a certain level, it can produce a spirit. However, this is not the case here. This formation is most likely formed from the true form of the ancient evergreen tree. The people of the Temple of Holy Fire all felt it was ridiculous. Yi Fan also said in disbelief, "How is this possible?" Yunxiao seemed to remember something, and his eyes dimmed as he recited, "Nothing is impossible. And I finally remember that the martial sovereign, Teng Guang, once said proudly that he had set up 7 beautiful and wonderful formations in the realm of heavenly martial arts. I remember one of them was called Water Moon Mirror Flower." "You, how did you know?" Yi Fan was shocked. He said in surprise, "This means that this formation was set up by the martial sovereign, Tungguang? This Kasaya, how do we break it?" "Don't panic," Yunxiao said. "The array he has set up may not be powerful." Everyone's face was filled with black lines, and Pottery said with a crying face, "A formation set up by a martial sovereign king-level expert might not be powerful? Don't tell me you're more powerful than him." Yunxiao stopped the chariot and began to look around as he explained, "He's purely interested in the study of formations. It's not that the more powerful it is, the more interesting it is. This water moon mirror flower is definitely one of those interesting but not very powerful ones." "I hope so," Tauken replied. "We don't know anything about formations, so we're counting on you." All the people of the Temple of Holy Fire looked dejected as they stared at Yunxiao. However, after hearing that this formation was set up by a martial sovereign king, they seemed to have lost all hope. Sure enough, after observing for a while, Yunxiao said, "I can't see any clues from this formation, I can't break it." "What?" Yi Fan also felt dizzy. "Big brother Yunxiao, what should we do now?" "Don't panic," Yunxiao said. "Just sit down and cultivate with peace of mind. Now, we can only wait." "Wait?" Everyone's eyes bulged, and Fengzhu said, "Will the formation break by itself if we wait?" Yunxiao smiled. "Of course not. Don't forget, everyone. We're not the only ones here. We're waiting for them to break the formation." Although Tangguang's formation is an array within an array, all of the arrays link together but also independent. As long as a flaw appears in the entire formation, I can definitely find it and break it. His very calm appearance made everyone more or less put down their worries. Fengzhu couldn't help but ask, "You're so sure that others can break it? If we can't even break it, are we going to be trapped here until we die?" Yunxiao gave him a look and said, "Don't worry. If you can't break it, just stay here and cultivate. The spiritual chi here is pretty good. When everyone breaks through to the peak of the martial supreme realm, one move will be able to break through 10,000 techniques. Any formation will be turned to dust." Hearing what he said, everyone's face suddenly darkened, and their hearts, which had just calmed down a little, were in suspense again. Yi Fan was also vexed and said, "Big brother Yunxiao is right. There's no use in panicking. The spiritual chi here is better than in our Temple of Holy Fire, so you should hurry up and cultivate." Although he said so, he couldn't calm down at all. The aura was constantly calling him, and he felt extremely irritated. Yunxiao gave him a glance, smiled, then closed his eyes and began to cultivate. Tungguang's formation skills were so high that if he got serious, ants like them wouldn't even be able to touch him. They could only hope that this place was one that was more of a novelty and did not have much power. Otherwise, everyone would have to bear the consequences. What is going on here? He was getting more and more lost. In the beginning, there was still a direction, but now there's no direction. Oh no. Could this be the legendary ghost realm? The illusionary realm that we can never get out of? I've often heard of people who can't get out of this situation, but after a certain period of time, they can get out by themselves. After this theory became common, that place was called the ghost realm. Did we really encounter it? I originally thought that it was an illusion or a natural illusionary formation caused by the weather and that it would dissipate with the change in weather. It seems that this is not the case. This place should be an extremely powerful formation. The two members of the Rainstorm mercenary group followed young Emperor Halian. They felt that their target was becoming more and more absent-minded. His aura was faintly discernible, and he was about to disappear from their sight. The more they walked, the more suspicious they became. Chen Chuanzhou's expression was extremely ugly. It was right next to his own force. He thought that he knew the demon plains very well, but he did not expect that there was such a magical place. For so many years, there had been no such information. There were only some insignificant rumors with different rhetoric, and they had never been taken seriously. Now, it seemed that this place was not simple. No matter what kind of formation it is, since it has existed here for a long time, there's nothing to be afraid of, he said in a deep voice. If we can't get out, that kid can't get out either. Just don't lose him. Their goal was to kill young Emperor Hao Lian. They didn't care about anything else as long as it didn't threaten them. Their figures kept flashing in the illusion, locking onto the aura in front of them, not daring to relax. Young Emperor Hao Lian's doubts grew. Although the people behind him couldn't catch up, he felt that something was wrong. It was as if they couldn't reach the end. He finally stopped, and a bright light flashed in his eyes. He shouted into the air, "Who is it? Since you've lured me here, could it be that you're going to trap me with a formation?" His voice was extremely loud and spread far and wide, but the two people following closely behind him acted as if they didn't hear him. In the center of the formation, Qing's sword-like eyebrows twitched slightly, and a knowing smile appeared on her face. He said, "Rat Emperor, your seduction is too clumsy." He has already seen through it. The Rat Emperor's voice came from the air, "So what? Isn't he coming over? And that's a Dao heart that's fearless. He's wandering around the peak of the 8 Desolation realm. If he doesn't dare to come forward because of fear, he'll never be able to break through." With a single thought from little Qing, the entire formation began to change. The fog around young Emperor Hao Lian suddenly parted like a curtain, revealing a green mountain and clear water. There were birds in the forest, and a stream flowed with a ding-dong sound. Flowers bloomed all over the mountain, and immortal music lingered in the air. It was a sacred place. Moreover, the sound of water flowing in the forest spring made a splash of water vapor, which hit his face. Young Emperor Hao Lian reached out his hand and felt it. Tiny dewdrops appeared on his palm, and his skin felt cool and refreshing. His face became serious. There was no such place in the demon plains. The place in front of him was 100% an illusion, but it was so real, as if he was in it. In a situation where he knew it was fake, he couldn't distinguish any flaws. The person who set up the formation had a profound technique that far exceeded his imagination. But since the other party had guided him here, he would not have any ill intentions. Otherwise, he only needed to activate the formation to stop him and let Chen Chuanjiu and the other two catch up to him. Then, he would be in danger. Thinking of this, he stepped into the green mountains and clear waters. The two people behind him also noticed the change in the scenery in front of them and quickly rushed up in shock. After stepping into the green mountains and clear waters, Hao Lian Xiaowang's figure began to become absent-minded, as if he would disappear at any moment. Squeak, squeak, squeak. All of a sudden, a large number of flying squirrels appeared out of nowhere and filled up the space, attacking the two of them. Moreover, an extremely powerful force seemed to have come from the sky. No one could find its source. It appeared out of thin air and fell on Chen Chuanjiu's head. Suddenly, the Rat Emperor's flustered and exasperated voice came from the sky. "Little Qing, quickly open the 4 seasons barrier and let Aqua Blue in." The space in front of him dimmed, and the huge body of the Rat Emperor appeared in front of him. Qing Zhu frowned slightly and sensed the situation outside the enchantment. Somewhere in the rhythm of spring, the sky full of green had long been replaced by blood, and the screams of the 5-element spirit-devouring rats could be heard everywhere. The two men walked steadily on the green mountains and clear waters. A golden defensive barrier appeared around them, and the spirit rats immediately turned into a mist of blood upon contact. However, they were still like moths to a flame, constantly crashing into it. Among the many spirit rats, there was a larger Akublu spirit rat with blue eyes. It stared at the two people's footsteps and kept retreating. Its light blue fur was actually filled with pure blue blood. It was like paint, covering its entire body. A large number of spirit rats protected it in the center like stars surrounding the moon, retreating towards the depths of the water moon mirror flower. The two men looked cold and their faces were pale. The two of them were not good people, and their pale faces were not because they had exhausted too much of their vitality. Instead, he had slaughtered countless 5-element spirit-devouring rats along the way, so much so that he was starting to shiver. "Che Shuyao, how long are you going to keep killing like this? I'm a little scared." "We have to kill him even if he's scared, or else what? If the ancient evergreen tree doesn't open up a passage to the water moon mirror flower, we won't be able to break it." "I don't believe that we can't break it if we combine our strength." Of course, you can destroy this formation by force. However, don't forget that this is an illusory formation set up by a martial sovereign king using the true body of the ancient evergreen tree. If you and I forcefully destroy it and the king-level expert finds out about it, he will be unhappy. Humph, can you bear the responsibility? Damn, what a headache. So many of its own kind had died, and the last Rat King was right in front of them. Would the Rat King really be able to stand it? Why didn't you open the passage at this time? Let's kill for a while more. Didn't the mist just dissipate? It's just that the illusion here is more realistic, and even we can't see the real situation. If we really can't do it, we'll first capture this water-type Rat King and refine the 5 elements beast taming ring. One of them flicked his finger, and a large number of spirit rats that rushed above the defensive barrier exploded into a mist of blood. The two of them walked step by step toward the water-type Rat King. Little Qing quickly opened the barrier. The Rat Emperor hobbled toward Qing Zhu and roared. The hair on its body stood up, and it looked very fierce. The seals in Little Qing's hands became stronger and stronger, but his face remained indifferent. He said, "Rat Emperor, don't panic." The two of them were martial sovereigns of the 9th heaven. If he had wanted to capture Shui land, he would have done so long ago. If I'm not wrong, their target is either you or me. If the 4 seasons barrier is broken and a large number of cultivators rush in, you and I will both be in danger. I don't care, the 5-element Rat King is only left with Shui land, we have to save him no matter what. The Rat Emperor's aura pressed toward Qing Zhu, and it said with hostility, "Open or not." Qing frowned and said, "A Rat Emperor, you've lived for thousands of years. Why are you still acting on impulse?" The two of them didn't capture Shui land because they wanted to force us to open the barrier. If we let them go around the 4 seasons barrier, do you think we can stop 2 martial supremes with just the 2 of us? At that time, not only will Shui land be captured, but you will also be under the control of the nightmare beast. At that time, your billions of children in the demon plane will become sharp weapons in the hands of others. The Rat Emperor calmed down at once, but he still said angrily, "Then what do you think we should do? And let them kill my children?" Qing said, "We can only sacrifice Aqua Blue to stop your children from attacking. This will reduce the number of unnecessary casualties. I'll absorb the rule force and Emperor Qi of the 9 heavens when young Emperor Lilian advances to a martial sovereign. Not only will I be able to recover from my injuries, but I'll also be able to advance to the next level. When the time comes, you'll have the capital to fight them with me in the Water Moon Mirror Flower." The Rat Emperor squeaked for a long time, as if it couldn't accept this. However, he was also in existence with intelligence, so he knew that Little Qing's words were the correct method. He finally suppressed his temper and passed down the order. A large number of flying squirrels in the rhythm of spring suddenly scattered in all directions. Some even retracted their wings and burrowed into the ground. In the blink of an eye, only the blue Rat King was left. It stood there alone, staring at the 2 people in front of it, its eyes full of hatred. What's going on with? The 2 of them were stunned. One of them said in a deep voice, "Could it be that they really gave up?" Che Shuyao's face turned even colder. He said, "It's highly possible. The Rat King isn't an idiot. With the 2 of us working together, it won't be able to escape. He's abandoning his men to protect himself. In that case, let's refine this Water Rat King first." The other person revealed a trace of ridicule and said, "The worst-case scenario is to break this illusory formation. We're just carrying out our mission. Even if the king-level master is angry, the sect will bear the consequences. What does it have to do with us?" He reached out to grab the Akublu Rat King, and the space around him was sealed, making it unable to move. The blue Water Rat King's eyes were filled with fear, but the space around it had been locked, and it couldn't even shake. A look of despair appeared in its eyes, and it saw a copper ring falling toward it. The 5 bells on the copper ring jingled, leaving only one empty ring that enlarged in the air, turning into a cage. "Little goody, go in." The man smiled coldly, and the aqua blue Rat King felt a suction force pulling it in. At that moment, 5 different colors appeared on the beast enslavement bracelet and gave off light in the air. They reflected each other and only these 5 colors could be seen in the sky. They complemented each other and spread out in all directions. The illusion of spring also retreated. Just as the 2 experts of the Myriad Star Valley were refining the 5 elements beast taming ring, a man in luxurious clothes was also walking through the watermoon mirror flower a few miles behind them. The surprise on his face was getting more and more intense. There was a huge pearl on his belt, which made him look very generous. Suddenly, a 5-colored light appeared in front of him and shot up into the sky. Under the impact of the light, the surrounding illusion became unreal. He suddenly stopped and his pupils shrank. He raised his head to look at the flashing light in the distance and muttered, "This light is so bright that it looks down on a 9th-tier profound armament? Could it be that someone was forging here? But how many people in this world can refine 9th-tier profound armaments?" His heart was filled with shock, and with a flash, he used spatial bending and crossed several miles in an instant. "Who's there?" Shuyao instantly sensed that someone was peeking at him. His eyes darkened, and he threw a punch with his right hand. Whether it was a human or a ghost, he had no interest in knowing. He would just directly explode. As soon as the man in luxurious clothes spread out his divine sense, he felt a fierce chi coming at him. He retreated in horror and said, "Emperor Chi of the 9 heavens." Although he was shocked, he didn't panic. He also closed his 5 fingers together and slashed down like a knife. A sharp golden blade slashed out from his hand and headed towards the fist radiance. Boom! As the 2 gusts of wind collided, the sky changed color. The surrounding plants and peach flowers were all destroyed. Golden light bloomed on the demon land like the sun, shining in all directions. Martial Emperor. Shuyao's heart twitched and he shouted in shock. He was extremely alert. He took a step forward and stood beside his companion. He stared at the front and shouted, "Who is it? Report your name." His companion was sitting cross-legged on the ground. With him as the center, a circular formation spread out. Strange symbols kept flowing out from it, turning into white chi and dissipating in the sky. His face also sank as he looked at the 5 elements beast taming ring in the sky, revealing a dignified expression. Now was the crucial period of the refinement, and he could not afford to be distracted. Thinking of his companion's strength, he calmed down a little and continued to devote himself to the refinement. "I'm just here to be a bystander. Please don't fight. Peace breeds wealth." The man in luxurious clothes revealed himself from the void with a smile. A serious look flashed in his eyes and he said with a smile, "I'm Guduongyu. What's your name, big brothers? Where do you work?" Shuyao's heart moved and he blurted out, "Myriad treasure stores in Guduongyu? What are you doing here?" A strange expression appeared on his face, as if he had come to a sudden realization. He said, "You're here for Noah's ship." "You two must be joking." Nguduongyu laughed and said, "How can Noah's ship be here? I don't know which wicked person released this fake news. I'm just here to be a bystander and didn't expect to meet the 2 of you who are in such a good mood to actually refine 9th-tier profound armaments. TSK, what a great deal. I have never even seen an 8th-tier profound armament being refined in my life. It was a feast for the eyes today. To be able to spend so much money and not dress so strangely, the 2 of you must be the big brothers of the Myriad Star Valley, right?" Shuyao chuckled and said, "It's indeed boring news. I'm Shuyao from the Myriad Star Valley, and this is my companion's Fief. We're here to do a small thing, please give us some face." Nguduongyu rolled his eyes and laughed, "I've long heard of your great name. In particular, this brother Fani was known as the #1 beast tamer below the divine control martial sovereign realm. After seeing him today, he realized that his reputation was indeed well-deserved. Even refining a 9th-tier profound armament is a small matter. TSK, how are we poor ghosts going to live?" "Brother you must be joking," Shuyao said. "I'm afraid you're just making things up. Moreover, Myriad Treasure Store is the world's #1 chamber of commerce. If you are also poor, then we really have no way to live." Nguduongyu chuckled and began to wrangle with him. The two of them talked nonsense for more than an hour. The fief lord sat there with an increasingly irritable face. He was constantly on guard, making it impossible for him to continue with his refinement. Moreover, he had already guessed that the other party must have done it on purpose. Refining the 5 elements beast slave ring was not the orthodox way of refining a 9th-tier profound armament, but using the 5 elements rat king as a catalyst to condense the power of the 5 elements, so that its power could be comparable to the 9th-tier level. Although its attack could not be compared with a real 9th-tier profound armament, it could control 9th-tier demonic beasts and become a great help. As for Nguduangyu, it continued to wrangle, occasionally shouting a few words, causing the fief to become more and more terrible, and the frustration in its heart to grow. Che Shuyao was also secretly anxious. He tried to drive the other party away a few times, but he was cleverly turned back. Finally, he could not help but pull a long face and said, "Brother Yu, it's not convenient today, but I'll definitely have a drink and chat with you when I come to the Myriad Stars Valley in the future. Brother Yu, if there's anything you need, please go ahead." "I'm fine. You guys do what you need to do, don't mind me. This swan and I isn't good. The refining of the beast taming ring in the fief can't be disturbed at all, so it's inconvenient for us to talk here." "That's fine. Why don't we go somewhere else and have a good talk? Brother Yu, let's not talk anymore. Please give me face and leave immediately." "I want to, but what kind of place is this? I feel strange no matter how I walk. I'm afraid I'll get lost. By the way, this is the territory of the Western region. Could it be a forbidden area set up by your Myriad Stars Valley?" "How can our Myriad Stars Valley be so boring?" This was an illusionary formation that combined illusion and reality that was set up by the martial sovereign, Tungguang, back then. It was called the Water Moon Mirror Flower. "Brother Yu, just find a place to stay and it won't take long for this formation to be broken." "Oh." Nguduangyu's heart skipped a beat. After hearing such a strange thing, it was even more reluctant to leave. It was actually set up by the king-level master. "Why do you say that it will be broken soon? Are you two planning to break the formation?" Che Shuyao's face immediately turned ugly. If this person knew that they were going to break the formation and spread the news, Tungguang would come to find trouble with them. He coughed a few times and said, "Who dares to say that they can break the formation set up by a king-level martial sovereign? We've lived in the western regions for a long time, so we have some understanding of this place. I'm sure they'll disperse soon, so please leave, Brother Yu." "I'm really curious. Why did it disperse on its own?" "Brother Che, please elaborate." "Nguduangyu, are you really going to fall out with us?" Che Shuyao finally couldn't take it anymore and shouted. "Why do you say that?" Nguduangyu put on an innocent look and said sincerely, "I'm sincerely asking for your advice, Brother Che. If you agree, I'll leave immediately without any delay." Pfft. The fief lord finally couldn't take it anymore. At this moment, he was filled with irritation and the power of the formation backfired, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent as he stared at the sunfish boat and shouted, "Arg! I'll fuck your whole family, procrastinating your sister. Since you don't want to leave, then don't leave. Stay here." He made a move in the air, and the incomplete 5 elements beast taming ring instantly became bigger and made a loud ding-dang sound. It was like his state of mind, and it smashed towards Nguduangyu.